Hi, I'm Kelly Doherty, co host of the Grief Ladies podcast. And when Karen and I started this podcast, one of the things we knew for sure that we wanted to make sure we covered was we didn't want to just talk about grief. We wanted to talk about love because that's really what it's about. Because when someone dies, it's so easy for us to focus on the death, to the ending, to what was lost, to what feels missing in our life without our loved ones. And that's very real and true, but it's not the whole story. At the Grief Ladies, we talk about celebrating their life. And what we mean is that we can gently shift our lens, not away from grief, but wider than grief, wider than the final days, wider than the pain, so we can also hold on to what still remains: the love, the connection, the memories, the impact our loved ones had on our lives, the ways they shaped who we are and how we move through the world. Death ends a life, but it doesn't end the relationship. This video brings together our very first 5 podcast guests, each sharing how they celebrate their loved one's life. Sometimes it's not these grand gestures, not even in perfect ways, but in real, personal, meaningful ways, through rituals, through traditions, through everyday moments, through food, through the way they carry their person forward with them as they move forward in their grief. So as you listen, I invite you not to compare. There's no right way to do this. Just notice what resonates, what feels authentic, what reminds you of your own loved one, and then think about what you want to do to celebrate your loved one's life. Celebrating their life isn't about forcing joy. It's about making space for love, even alongside grief. We're so honored to share these voices with you. What are you going to do to celebrate your loved one's life?
I think like my everyday is honoring him. Like I'm a Christian, so like the Bible helps me, and like the teachings of the Bible help me quite a bit. And Romans 8:28 says that God works all things for the good of those who love him. And that's been a really powerful like anchoring scripture for me. And that I feel like that's how um I honor Justin, is like remembering that when he died, like obviously it was the worst moment of my life, right? And it still hurts. And the 21st anniversary of his death was 2 days ago. So like the grief is still there. I'm still like holding that grief, but also I have so much joy and purpose and happiness. I hold them both at the same time, and both are true at the same time. And I think every single day that I continue to um, reach for healing and show up for myself and show up in my business and be on podcasts like, with awesome people like you guys, and just sharing my own story and his story is honoring him. Like I think that I am in real time living out my calling on earth. Like this is my assignment. And I think that alone, just living that out, is honoring
One of the
him.
things with my grandma loved KFC. Like, she just loved Kentucky Fried Chicken, and she had an accent, so Kentucky Fried Chicken. And so for Mother's Day and her birthday, what did she want? Kentucky Fried Chicken with the coleslaw. And so we would always get Kentucky Fried Chicken. And so we would do that on her birthday and on Mother's Day. Like, that was just what we did. And at one point I went vegan, like hardcore vegan, and we eat pretty well. I remember I was like hardcore vegan, and I still had to go find a Kentucky Fried Chicken on her. I got so sick. Like, I was like, but if I don't do it, since then we've stopped and we've adjusted our memory. But that was something, it was just so ritualistic, and it just reminded us of her, and it was necessary. Like, I had to do that. With my father, one of the things he used to do is he would send these quirky, corny valentines to everyone. And I don't do this, but my brother, he still sends, like, he looks for the cheesiest valentines and mails them to everyone in our family. And that was like a trademark of my father. And so he used to do those kinds of things. So I don't do that, but I always wait. And I actually have, so I literally have one of my Valentines like right here. Like, it's
Oh.
sitting on my whiteboard. And so I have a stack of these little Valentines that my brother sent me, that my dad sent me. It's a simple thing. One of the things that we chose to do with my father's passing is our family's different. And so I ended up hiring photographers and videographers for the funeral. So he passed away in Toronto, and then we ended up burying him in Edmonton. So we had a prayer service in Toronto, and we hired a videographer to and ask people to share their stories, because my son was really young, my sister's kids were really young, and we have our own preconceived notions of who our father is, but we wanted their stories because he was really influential in his world and in the community and in the academic realm. And so they literally we hunted people down. We're like, please go share your story, please share anything. And we captured those stories because we knew this was probably one of the last times that they're going to be around us. And I don't know half these people because they came from different times of his life. And so we captured those stories on video. And we also did that in Edmonton as well with that cohort of his world. And so that was really special. And I think that gave us something, and it gives us something to talk about, and a different way to remember
This is how
him.
I remember my mom and my best friend. My mom's name was Sandy, and my best friend's name was Tammy. And there are ways that I knew already that I wanted to remember her, like objects I connected with her, or sights and smells and sounds I would connect with her. I used the lens of the five senses. And so every time I drink green tea, I think of my mom. She would have like 8 cups of green tea in the morning, which was basically one tea bag, but she'd just keep watering it down until it was just hot water. And now I do the same thing because I don't know, we become our parents eventually. Loved songbirds and sparrows, and my mom did too. And there was a hymn that we would often listen to that had sparrows as a word in it. Old hymns played on a piano or something that we enjoyed sharing together. The song Knock on Wood. You better knock, knock, knock on wood. Do. Yeah, that one. She used to embarrass my sister and I by doing her high school palms routine to that song every time it came on the radio. And so now every time I hear that song, I'm like, hello, mother. And then also finding pennies on the ground, because she was a see a penny, pick it up all day long, you'll have good luck person. And so heads up, tails up, doesn't matter. She'd pick up the penny. And so those are starting points I had for her of things that remind me of my mother. But after, and so through the five senses, sight, smell, sound, touch, taste, I feel as if, and I have the belief that our loved ones continue to communicate with us after they die, I have gotten to add more things to that list that I would have never attached to her in real life, because I've seen them often enough in instances where I'm thinking of her or missing her that I'm like, that's got to be some kind of sign or symbol that I need to take into account. The biggest example, and the one I tell in my second book, Your Grief, Your Way, is after her death, I kept seeing palindromes everywhere. So like 121, 424, 838. It was just the same numbers forward and backwards, and it was usually 3 digits, 919. And I was like, what is it with the palindromes? My first address was 424, the bus I took to work, 151. Like there were just palindromes surrounding me, and I'd look at the clock and it wouldn't be 1111, which is special for a lot of people, but it would be 343. And I was like, I don't know what this means. And I kept Googling, seeing palindromes, number palindromes, spiritual meaning, symbolic meaning, whatever it is. And finally, one day I came across, you might be seeing palindromes because a parent is trying to connect with you, because you know what else is a palindrome? MOMDAD. And so every time now I see palindromes, I get chills thinking about this. Every time I see palindromes, I think of my mother. And when my wife and I were getting married, my wife has lost both of her parents, her mom, MUM, she's from Canada, and her dad, DAD. We chose a palindrome for our wedding day, 525. And so we got married on May 25th to incorporate all of our people with us. And so I accepted that as a sign and symbol from her, but now I purposefully choose palindromes whenever I can in other areas of my life to launch things, to create things, to have special date nights or things on, because it makes me feel like they're folded into my life. So palindromes have become part of my signs and symbols library.
To music all the time, the Pearl Jam, right? His ashes are in the ocean. I have a tattoo for him. It's actually a Pearl Jam lyric, but it relates to my recovery, and it's ocean waves. When I'm at the ocean, I'll just give him a little nod, you know. He comes to me as a crow. You know, whenever I see crows, I acknowledge him, and I don't forget him. Like I keep him with me, and not just his memory. I keep his memory, but I believe he's still alive in spirit. So I keep him with me all the time. And I think
celebrate her every day that I wake up and I'm alive myself. Again, she's so much a part of who I am now that it just naturally comes out in my interactions with people. But I also express gratefulness to her every day for guidance on this path, as well as my father, my mother, my grandparents, some dear friends of mine who have transitioned. They are part of now my soul family, soul tribe that I draw inspiration from. And, and there are days that I yearn for her physical presence, and I don't try to avoid that. It's part of the grief journey. It's part of the circularity of grief that we will experience as long as we're living. But I also look at now as those negative moments as a sign of the fact that my love for her is always going to be enduring. I'm never going to forget her, through good or through bad days for me. So she's so much a part of who I am. I just celebrate her every day that I wake up, and I teach, and I talk to other people, and I just interact with family. So that's how I celebrate her. She's so much a part of who I am. Who she is, the essence of who she is so much a part of who I am that it just is it's a natural occurrence. But there's other ways to celebrate your loved ones. I mean, you can make contributions in their name to a favorite charity, plant a tree, have a meal. I know a good friend of mine um, wanted to have a hands-on approach. He's a builder. He built an urn to house his father's ashes in. Um, there was another artist that I know who did a massive ceramic tile piece, and the medium she used was her mother's ashes with the rest to, and so her mother's ashes became part of that art, and therefore she became part of her, her passion. She became part of that piece. So every time she looked at that piece, there was a bond that she had with her mother, because a part of her mother was the medium for putting that all together. So it's however you choose to celebrate, big, little, in between, just as long as we are staying connected to our loved ones' memories, we're maintaining those bonds